The flood was swallowing the town. Roads vanished beneath raging waters. From a small hangar, Maya Torres tightened her helmet, staring at the storm from above. They said she couldn't handle a Black Hawk, but she was about to prove them wrong. Before we dive into what Maya did next, take a second. Tell us where you're watching from. City, country, anywhere in the world. Drop it in the comments, and let's experience this story together. The hangar is quiet except for the soft ticking of cooling metal. Maya Torres stands beside the helicopter, one hand resting on the Black Hawk's open door. The smell of oil and dust hangs in the air. Sunlight slips through high windows and cuts across the concrete floor in long pale lines. She moves slowly, carefully. Her fingers trace the edge of a panel. She checks a latch, pushes, pulls. Satisfied, she nods to herself and moves on. A checklist lies open on the workbench. She doesn't rush it. Battery good, she says under her breath. She climbs into the cockpit and settles into the seat. The cushion creaks. She straps in, adjusts the pedals, and runs her eyes over the instruments. Altimeter, fuel gauge, navigation display. Everything has its place. Everything tells a story. She taps the glass lightly, as if greeting an old friend. Outside, a mechanic rolls a tool cart past the hangar door. The wheels rattle. "Morning, Maya," he calls. "Morning," she replies without looking up. She flips a switch. A soft hum fills the cockpit. Another switch. A deeper sound answers back. Her tablet rests on her knee, screen glowing. A map fills it, rivers, roads, elevation lines. She zooms in, then out. Her finger pauses over a narrow valley. She tilts her head, thinking. Maya steps back out of the helicopter and walks around it again, eyes scanning the rotor blades above. She squints up, shielding her face from the light. No cracks, no loose edges. She reaches into her jacket pocket and pulls out a rag, wipes a smudge from the fuselage. Small things matter. They always do. From the far side of the hangar, her phone buzzes. She ignores it. The tablet buzzes too. This time she looks. A red banner stretches across the top of the screen. Severe flood warning. She frowns and taps it. Rain maps load fast. Blue turns to yellow. Yellow turns to red. Her jaw tightens. The name of a town appears near the river bend. Place she knows. Place she's flown over more than once. She scrolls. Expected river overflow. Evacuations underway. Emergency services overwhelmed. Maya exhales slowly through her nose. Outside, wind rattles the hangar door. Somewhere, thunder rolls low and distant. The mechanic sticks his head inside again. "Storm's picking up," he says. "Might be a long day." Maya nods. "Looks like it." She sets the tablet down and finishes the checklist. One last switch. One last glance. Then she pauses. Her eyes drift back to the map on the screen. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't reach for the phone. She just stands there, helmet in hand, listening as the wind presses harder against the walls. The hangar feels smaller now. Maya slips the helmet on the seat, straightens it carefully, and closes the helicopter door with a firm, quiet click. Outside, rain begins to fall. Rain drums against the windshield as Maya drives toward the base. Wipers sweep back and forth. The sky is low and gray, pressing down on the road. She keeps both hands on the wheel, eyes forward. The radio crackles with emergency updates, then cuts to static. She turns it off. At the gate, a guard waves her through after a quick check of her ID. Beyond the fence, the base is already moving. Trucks idle. Soldiers jog across the tarmac. Helicopters sit in rows, dark shapes against the rain. Maya parks and steps out. Wind tugs at her jacket. The smell of wet concrete and fuel hits her at once. Inside the operations building, voices overlap. Phones ring. A large map covers one wall, dotted with markers. Rivers spill past their lines. A man with short gray hair stands at the center, arms crossed. He speaks without raising his voice, and everyone around him listens. "That's Chief Pilot Harris," someone murmurs as Maya approaches. She waits until there's a break. "Maya Torres," she says, holding out her hand. Civilian pilot. I got the call. Harris looks at her hand, then at her face. He shakes it once, firm but brief. You've flown Black Hawks before? He asks. Yes, sir. In weather like this? Yes, sir. He glances past her toward the windows. Rain streaks down the glass. This isn't a sightseeing tour, Torres, Harris says. People panic out there. Mistakes get people killed. I understand, Maya says. He studies her for a moment, then turns back to the map. We'll slot you where we can, he says. For now, stay safe. Stay grounded. A few pilots nearby exchange looks. One of them lets out a short breath, almost a laugh. Another checks his watch. Maya doesn't respond. She nods once and steps aside. She moves to the edge of the room and sets her helmet on a chair. She pulls up her tablet and opens the flood maps again. Her thumb zooms in on the river basin. She watches the water lines creep outward. A young crew member walks past and slows. They really called you in? He asks quietly. Yes. He nods, impressed, then hesitates. Good luck. Thanks, Maya says. Over the loudspeaker, a voice calls out flight assignments. Names echo through the room. Not hers. She watches as teams grab gear and head out into the rain. Boots splash. Engines whine to life outside. Maya stays where she is. She adjusts the strap on her helmet, tightens it, loosens it again. She checks the time, then the map. Harris walks by, clipboard under his arm. If you need anything, let ops know, he says without stopping. Maya looks up. I will. He nods once and keeps moving. Through the window, a helicopter lifts off, rotors chopping the air. Rain scatters beneath it like spray. Maya stands, tablet in hand, eyes following the aircraft until it disappears into the gray sky. Then she looks back at the map. She waits. The Black Hawk lifts off through the rain, rotors cutting heavy air. Maya sits in the co-pilot seat, hands light on the controls. Her helmet presses snug around her ears. The cockpit hums with vibration, steady and loud, but familiar. Heading 180, the pilot says. Confirmed. Maya replies, adjusting the trim. The town appears beneath them as they break through the low clouds. Water is everywhere. Streets vanish under brown currents. Rooftops poke through like islands. A pickup truck spins slowly where an intersection used to be. Maya leans forward slightly, eyes scanning. River's out of its banks by at least 2 blocks, she says. The pilot nods. More than they reported. They fly lower. A school playground is submerged. Only the top of a slide shows. On a nearby roof, 2 people wave frantically. A third holds something small and wrapped tight. Mark that location, the pilot says. Maya taps the coordinates into the system. Marked. The radio crackles. Rescue teams are stuck. Roads are gone. Repeat, roads are gone. Ahead, a bridge should be visible. It isn't. Maya squints. That bridge collapsed. You can see the pylons. Damn, the pilot mutters. That was our main access. Wind slams into the helicopter. The nose dips, then steadies. Gusts are getting rough, the pilot says. I've got it, Maya says calmly, easing the controls. The aircraft levels out. The pilot glances at her, then back ahead. Below them, a highway curves into nothing. Guardrails disappear under moving water. Cars sit abandoned on higher ground, doors flung open. Standard routes won't work, Maya says. No kidding, the pilot replies. They circle once more. Rain streaks hard across the windshield. Maya switches the navigation display. Terrain, elevation, old infrastructure. She zooms in, her finger steady despite the turbulence. Hold a second, she says. What are you seeing? The pilot asks. She points at the screen. There's an old service road here. Runs along the ridgeline. The pilot leans closer. That's not on the main map. It's older, Maya says, but it's higher ground. Might still be usable. He studies it for a moment. Interesting. The radio interrupts again. Multiple civilians trapped near the mill. No landing zones. Maya looks back out the window. The mill sits half underwater, currents slamming into its walls. She returns to the screen, adjusts the overlay. The thin line of the road reconnects near a clearing. It stays above the floodplain, she says. Barely, but it does. The pilot nods slowly. Good catch. They pull away from the town as fuel limits approach. As they climb, Maya takes one last look down. People are still waving. She switches the display back to wide view and saves her markers. The rain keeps falling. Inside the cockpit, Maya keeps her hands steady on the controls, eyes forward, already mapping what others missed. The briefing room smells like wet gear and coffee. Pilots crowd around the map table as rain rattles the windows. Red markers dot the flood zone. Some of them blur together. Chief Pilot Harris stands at the head of the table. We've got civilians stranded near the mill, he says, tapping the map with a pen. Winds unstable. Visibility is dropping. Maya stands on one side of the room, helmet tucked under her arm. Harris looks up. Lieutenant Cole, you're up? A young pilot straightens. Yes, sir. Harris points again. Take rescue 2. Quick in and out if you can. If not, abort. Maya steps forward half a pace. Sir. Harris raises a hand without looking at her. We'll handle it. She stops. Cole grabs his helmet and heads for the door. His jaw is tight, but his stride is fast. Outside, the helicopter spins up. Rotors whip rain into a mist. Maya watches from under the overhang as the Black Hawk lifts off. Winds stronger than forecast, someone says beside her. She doesn't answer. The operations room fills with radio noise. Screens show shaky aerial feeds. The helicopter banks hard as it reaches the edge of the flood zone. Rescue 2, say again? A voice calls. Static answers. Maya steps closer to the screen. The helicopter drops lower. Water rushes beneath it, fast and angry. Too low, someone mutters. On the screen, the aircraft shudders. The nose swings left, then right. Wind shear. Cole's voice comes through, strained, trying to stabilize. Pull back, Harris orders. You're drifting. I see it, Cole replies. A sharp gust hits. The camera jolts. For a second, the feed tilts sideways. Maya grips the edge of the console. Power's lagging, Cole says. Controls feel. Abort if you have to, Harris snaps. The helicopter climbs, uneven and slow. The mill flashes past beneath them, water smashing against its walls. On the roof, small figures wave. The feed cuts out. The room goes quiet. Seconds stretch. Then the radio crackles back to life. Rescue 2 is clear. Returning to base. A few people breathe out at once. Maya steps back. Her eyes stay on the blank screen. Outside, thunder rolls. When the helicopter lands, Cole climbs out pale and soaked. He pulls off his helmet and drags a hand through his hair. Couldn't hold it steady, he says to Harris. Wind kept pushing me offline. Harris nods. You did right pulling out. Maya watches from a few feet away. The rain keeps falling. Somewhere, people are still trapped. She looks at the map again. The markers haven't moved. Her tablet rests against her side. She wakes the screen and opens her saved routes. She doesn't speak. She doesn't step forward. But she doesn't look away either. As another gust rattles the hangar doors, Maya tightens her grip on the helmet in her hands. She knows the path. And she knows waiting won't save anyone. The rain doesn't let up. Water streams off the hangar roof in heavy sheets. Wind rattles the doors hard enough to make them shudder. Inside the operations room, the noise is constant. Radios crackle. A printer spits out fresh weather updates. Someone swears quietly as a marker falls off the map. Harris rubs his temples. We're running out of options. A voice over the radio cuts through. Civilians confirmed near the mill. One child. Water's still rising. Maya steps forward. I have a route, she says. The room stills, just a little. Harris looks at her. We've tried. Not this one, Maya replies. She sets her tablet on the table and turns it so everyone can see. Her finger traces a thin line across the screen. This service road runs along the ridge, she says. It stays above the floodplain. Pilot shakes his head. That road's old. Yes, Maya says, but it's higher ground. Wind breaks off the trees here and here. She taps 2 points. Harris folds his arms. And your landing zone? No landing, Maya says. We hover. Hoist only. Someone exhales sharply. In this wind? Another pilot asks. Maya nods. I've flown worse. Thunder booms outside, close enough to make the lights flicker. Harris studies the map. He doesn't speak for a long moment. The radio crackles again. Water just breached the lower wall. They don't have much time. Maya doesn't raise her voice. If we wait, we lose them. Harris looks up. You're asking to fly into the worst of it. I'm asking to fly where the wind breaks, she says. There's a difference. Rain hammers the roof. A helicopter lifts off outside, then quickly settles back down. Harris exhales slowly. You lead. I'll have a backup bird ready. A few heads turn. You sure? Someone asks him. He nods once. Reluctantly, Maya picks up her helmet. Outside, the storm hits her full in the face. Rain soaks her jacket in seconds. She doesn't rush. She walks straight to the Black Hawk. Crew members follow, pulling on gloves, checking straps. The rotors spin up, loud and steady. Inside the cockpit, Maya straps in and adjusts her seat. Her hands move with care. Switches click on in sequence. Route loaded, she says. Harris's voice comes through the radio. You see anything you don't like, you abort. Understood, Maya replies. The helicopter lifts into the rain. Wind pushes at the nose. Maya corrects, smooth and steady. Below them, the flood stretches wide and endless. The radio crackles. Chaos pours through it. Maya keeps her eyes forward. Her hands stay calm on the controls as the Black Hawk moves toward the thin line on the map, the only path left. Rain slams into the windshield like thrown gravel. Maya keeps the Black Hawk low, following the ridgeline she memorized. Trees rush past beneath them, dark and blurred. The sky presses down, heavy and gray. Winds shifting. The crew chief calls from the back. I feel it, Maya says. A hard gust hits the left side. The helicopter slides. Warning lights blink once, then steady. Maya eases the pedals, small corrections, no sudden moves. The rain thickens. Visibility drops to a narrow tunnel ahead. I'm losing the river reference, the co-pilot says. Stay on terrain, Maya replies. Not the water. The aircraft shudders again. A deep vibration runs through the frame. Torque spike, someone says. Maya glances at the gauges. Numbers dance higher, then dip. She lowers the nose slightly and adjusts power, riding the wind instead of fighting it. The helicopter steadies. Thunder cracks overhead. The sound rolls through the cabin, loud and close. A surge of water slams against the ridge below, spraying upward. For a moment, the view turns white. Push back, the crew chief shouts. Maya tilts the nose into it, holding the line. Her hands stay light on the controls. Easy, easy, she murmurs. Another gust shoves them sideways. The helicopter drifts toward a stand of trees. The co-pilot's voice tightens. We're drifting. I see it, Maya says. She banks just enough, letting the wind carry them, then slides back into position behind the tree line. The air smooths for a heartbeat. That worked, the co-pilot says, surprised. Rain pounds harder. A warning tone chirps. One screen flickers. Nav's lagging, the co-pilot says. Maya switches displays. Use visual and terrain. Ignore the jump. The wind howls. The helicopter shakes. In the back, someone curses under their breath. Another grips a strap too tight. Hold on, Maya says. Not loud, just enough. They push forward. The ridge narrows. Water climbs up its sides, eating away at the edges. Maya lowers their altitude, hugging the contour of the land. Too low, the crew chief warns. Low is smoother, Maya replies. A blast of wind tears across the cockpit. The helicopter drops a few feet, then catches. The co-pilot exhales sharply. Maya keeps her eyes forward. She shifts the angle again, slightly sideways now, letting the wind slide past instead of slamming head-on. The shaking eases. The helicopter steadies. Rain still pounds. Thunder still rolls. But they're moving. The ridge opens up ahead, just a little. Maya nudges the controls and guides the Black Hawk through the gap. Behind her, the cabin quiets. The storm rages on all sides. Maya keeps flying straight into it. There, the co-pilot says. I see them. Maya follows his line of sight. Below, near what used to be the mill road, debris is jammed against a broken fence. On top of it, a man grips a bent signpost. A woman braces herself beside him. Between them, a child clings to the woman's jacket, red hood pulled tight. The water is fast, loud, angry. Visual confirmed. Maya says into the radio. She eases the Black Hawk forward. Wind pushes at the nose. The helicopter rocks, then tilts back. Gusts are worse here, the crew chief says from the back. I know, Maya replies. She slows them to a hover. The river boils beneath them, spray rising in bursts. The helicopter shudders as wind slams into the side. Hoist ready, the crew chief calls. A sudden blast of wind hits. The aircraft lurches left. Easy, the co-pilot says tight. Maya counters gently. Not fast, not hard. The helicopter swings back, unsteady but holding. Stand by, she says. She slides them a few feet into the wind. The shaking eases just a little. Lower, Maya says. The hoist cable drops. It swings wide at first, caught by the gusts. Cable's unstable, the crew chief warns. Maya lifts slightly, then noses forward. The cable straightens. Now, she says. Below, the man reaches. His hand slips on the wet metal. The woman screams. Hold on, the crew chief says, voice steady in her ears. Another gust slams into them. The helicopter dips. Altitude, the co-pilot calls. I've got it, Maya says. She brings the nose up and rides the gust instead of fighting it. The aircraft settles again. The woman looks up, eyes wide, mouth open. The child clings to her, shaking. Kid first, the crew chief says. Maya holds the hover. Every muscle stays still. The hook reaches them. The woman fumbles, hands trembling. You're doing fine, the crew chief says. Clip in. The child is secured. The cable tightens. Raising, the crew chief says. The wind surges. The cable swings. Maya moves with it, small corrections matching the motion. The helicopter stays over the spot. The child lifts clear of the water. No one speaks. The cable steadies. The child disappears into the cabin. One aboard, the crew chief says. Maya keeps her eyes forward. Her hands don't move. Below, the man and woman still cling to the debris as the water rises around them. Again, Maya says, and she holds the hover. Cable coming down, the crew chief says. Maya keeps the Black Hawk locked in place. The wind pulls at the aircraft like hands trying to drag it away. Rain blurs the world into streaks of gray. Below, the man and woman look up. Water slams into the debris, sending spray into the air. A gust hits hard. The helicopter slides a foot to the right. Drifting, the co-pilot says. I see it, Maya replies. She adds a touch of power, then eases it back. Not fighting, guiding. The helicopter slides back into position, shaking but steady. The cable drops again. Take the woman next, the crew chief says. The hook reaches her. She grabs it with both hands, fingers white. Another gust hits. The helicopter jerks. Hold her steady, the crew chief says. Maya shifts the nose into the wind. The aircraft settles just enough. Clip in, the crew chief says. The woman fumbles. The water surges higher, soaking her waist. Easy, the crew chief says. You've got time. Maya watches the altitude needle. It dips. She corrects, barely moving the controls. The woman clips in. Raising, the crew chief says. The cable tightens. The woman lifts from the debris. For a second, she spins. Swing, the co-pilot says. Maya slides sideways, matching the motion. The spin slows. The cable steadies. The woman rises, water dripping from her clothes, arms locked tight around herself. She disappears into the cabin. One aboard, the crew chief says. The helicopter bucks again, harder this time. Wind roars through the cockpit. Torque spiking, the co-pilot says. I'm easing it, Maya says. She lowers the nose slightly, letting the wind pass under them. The shaking eases. Below, the man stands alone now, water pounding against his legs. The debris shifts beneath him. Hurry! Someone whispers over the intercom. Maya doesn't answer. Cable down, the crew chief says. The hook drops toward the man. He reaches, slips, nearly falls. Don't rush, the crew chief says. Look at me. The man nods, breathing hard. A wall of water surges past, spraying the windshield. Push back, the co-pilot shouts. Maya leans into it, holding the line. The helicopter shudders but stays. The man clips in. Raising, the crew chief says. The wind screams. The cable swings wide. Maya counters, slow and precise. The swing tightens. The man rises from the debris just as it breaks apart beneath him. For a heartbeat, he dangles over rushing water. Then he's clear. The cable steadies. The man disappears into the cabin. All aboard, the crew chief says. Maya exhales once. She holds the hover for another second, making sure. Then she eases the Black Hawk upward, away from the river. Rain still pounding, wind still fighting. Inside the cockpit, no one speaks. Maya keeps flying. The rain is lighter near the base. Still heavy, still steady, but not violent like before. Maya guides the Black Hawk down. The landing lights cut through the mist. The wheels touch the tarmac with a solid thud. The rotors slow. The deep roar fades to a low whine. Crew members rush forward as the doors open. Cold air floods the cabin. Careful, a medic says as he reaches in. The child is carried out first, wrapped in a thermal blanket. The red hood is gone now, replaced by gray fabric. The child looks around, eyes wide but quiet. The woman follows. Her knees buckle when her feet hit the ground. Two responders catch her and guide her away. The man comes last. He stumbles, then straightens, looking back at the helicopter like it might vanish. They're okay, someone says into a radio. Maya stays in her seat for a moment longer. Her hands rest on the controls. She doesn't move. The family reunites near the edge of the pad. The woman pulls the child close. The man wraps both of them in his arms. No one speaks. Rain beads on their hair and jackets. A medic kneels and checks the child's pulse. You're safe now, he says softly. Maya unstraps and steps down from the cockpit. Her boots hit the wet ground. She removes her helmet and sets it on the seat. Around her, people move fast. Stretchers roll. Radios crackle. Engines idle. Chief Pilot Harris stands a few steps away, watching the family. After a moment, he walks over. Torres, he says. Maya turns. Sir. He looks at her, then back at the helicopter. Water drips from the rotor blades. I misjudged you, Harris says. Maya doesn't answer right away. You saved lives today, he continues. His voice is steady. No edge. That route. I wouldn't have taken it. Maya nods once. It held. Harris lets out a breath. It did. They stand there as the rain falls between them. Good flying, he says at last. Thank you, sir, Maya replies. He gives a short nod and walks away. Nearby, a responder gives Maya a quick thumbs up. Another pats the side of the helicopter. Nice work up there, someone says. Maya picks up her helmet and carries it under her arm. She walks past the family. The man catches her eye. He hesitates, then says, Thank you. Maya stops. She nods. You held on. He swallows and nods back. She keeps walking. The storm still hangs low over the base. More helicopters sit ready. More calls come in. Maya sets her helmet down and wipes rain from her face. Then she turns back toward the operations building, quiet and steady. ready for whatever comes next. The storm has moved east. Clouds break apart as the helicopter rises again. Smooth and steady, Maya holds the controls lightly. Below her, the floodplain stretches wide, brown water catching the last light of the day. The sun slips low. Gold spreads across the clouds. She flies higher, just enough to see the town clearly now. Rooftops, roads, the river still swollen, but calmer than before. The cabin is quiet. Maya reaches to her side and taps her recorder on. The small red light blinks. "Hey," she says. Her voice is soft. "It's me." She glances out the window. "I know you're probably watching the news. I'm okay." The helicopter hums around her, steady and familiar. "It was bad out here," she continues, "but people held on. We got them out." She pauses, adjusts her heading as the sun dips lower. "I thought about home when I saw the river," she says. "How it looks after a storm. How quiet it gets." She lets the silence sit. "I'll call when I land," Maya says. "Just wanted you to know." She ends the recording. The helicopter turns west. The sky burns orange and pink. Light glints off the rotor blades. Below, rescue lights flicker on. Small points of brightness in the darkening land. Maya guides the Black Hawk forward, smooth and unhurried. The floodplain falls away behind her. As the helicopter flies into the sunset, she speaks once more, not into the recorder this time, just to the air. "They said I couldn't," she says. "The horizon opens ahead. But we did it." If this story moved you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What moment stayed with you the most? Share it in the comments. And if you enjoyed the story, please like, subscribe, and share it, so more people can experience it too.